26 years later, I hate how these great Star Trek alien villains have almost completely vanished. For a franchise built on exploring strange new worlds, Star Trek has always thrived on memorable alien adversaries. The Klingons evolved from enemies into allies. The Romulans became complex political rivals. Even the Borg transformed from unstoppable horror into a deeper exploration of individuality versus collectivism. But there's one group of villains that should still be haunting the Star Trek universe today. And yet, they've almost completely disappeared. After nearly 3 decades, the Dominion and their terrifying soldiers, the Jem'Hadar, have largely vanished from the franchise. Considering how powerful and important they once were, their absence feels like one of modern Star Trek's biggest missed opportunities. The Dominion once felt like Star Trek's ultimate threat. When the Dominion was introduced in Star Trek Deep Space Nine, the franchise suddenly changed tone. Star Trek had explored political conflicts before, but nothing on the scale of the Dominion War. The Dominion wasn't just another empire competing for territory. It was an entirely different kind of power structure. The mysterious founders, also known as changelings, ruled through absolute fear and control. They engineered the Jem'Hadar to be fearless warriors and the Vorta to serve as obedient diplomats and commanders. This structure created one of the most chilling societies in all of Star Trek. The Dominion didn't just conquer worlds, it designed life forms to maintain power. At its peak, the Dominion War engulfed the entire Alpha Quadrant. The Federation, Klingons, and Romulans were forced into a desperate alliance just to survive. It was arguably the largest and most consequential conflict the franchise had ever depicted. And then, almost suddenly, it was over. The Jem'Hadar were Star Trek's most fascinating soldiers. Part of what made the Dominion so compelling was the Jem'Hadar themselves. Unlike the Klingons, who fought for honor, or the Borg, who fought for assimilation, the Jem'Hadar existed purely for one purpose: war. They were genetically engineered to obey the founders without question. Their biology literally required the drug Ketracel White to survive, ensuring they would remain completely dependent on their creators. Disobedience wasn't just discouraged, it was biologically impossible. Yet Deep Space Nine frequently revealed surprising depth within these soldiers. Episodes explored Jem'Hadar warriors questioning their purpose, struggling with loyalty, and even dreaming of freedom from the Founders' control. For creatures bred as disposable weapons, they were given moments of tragic humanity. That complexity made them far more interesting than most science fiction monster armies. Which is why it's frustrating that modern Star Trek barely acknowledges them anymore. Modern Star Trek keeps ignoring the Dominion. Technically, the Dominion hasn't disappeared entirely. Star Trek Picard Season 3 did bring back the changelings as antagonists. But even then, the connection to the Dominion was surprisingly limited. Instead of revisiting the political empire that once threatened the entire quadrant, the show focused on a rogue group of changelings seeking revenge against the Federation. While interesting, the story treated them more like secret infiltrators than representatives of a massive interstellar power. The Jem'Hadar, arguably the Dominion's most recognizable soldiers, were nowhere to be seen. For longtime fans of Deep Space Nine, it felt like an incomplete return. The Dominion wasn't just shapeshifters plotting in the shadows. It was an enormous civilization with fleets, armies, and ideology. Ignoring most of that history makes their comeback feel oddly small. The Dominion still has endless story potential.